So now we need to actually get the fields onto your page layouts. Now we're basically going to do the same thing for leads, accounts, and contacts. And I'm going to show you each of the fields we need to put on each of those types of records. But if you have already decided not to map leads or map accounts, you can just go ahead and skip that part. You're not going to need to use them anyways. So I'm on a lead record, and I'm on the page layout that I want to add these fields to. So I simply click Edit Layout. And as the administrator, I can now go in and add these fields to my page layout. Now, I find it best if you have a separate section so users don't get confused, and we can call it something like, find nearby info. This is completely personal preference, though, nothing technical here. The find nearby link or field, that's definitely something we want on the page. That's kind of a must-have. Latitude and longitude, you don't need them on the page. I'm putting them on here just so you can see them, but you don't necessarily need your users to view the latitude and longitude. I recommend you do show the mapping status field. That's going to let your users know if this has already been located, not been located, if there's a problem with the address. It's going to give them some feedback so they're not frustrated if they can't realize why it's not being mapped. Now on the lead record, we also want to have the do not map checkbox. Now this doesn't necessarily need to be on the record. It's kind of up to you from an administrative standpoint. But essentially what we're talking about is any lead can be excluded from all further attempts of being located or being mapped. So for example, this lead, if it were checked, would never ever show up on any of our maps. The mapping status tells us if it's been located, if there's an issue with the address, or if we just haven't tried yet. And the find nearby field gives us a link to either map it or locate it. So if this had not been located and we're reviewing this record, then that link would say locate lead instead of map it. And if there were a problem with the address, then it simply would refuse to attempt to locate it until you at least edit the address. Now the latitude and longitude will populate once the address has automatically been located for you. Now let's do the same thing on accounts. So I'm at an account that I like, that I want to add these fields to, and I'm not going to bother putting them on the left column or the right column. I'm just going to show you what these fields are. The find nearby field, again, that is a must if you want to actually use the app. Latitude and longitude, not required. Personal preference if your organization wants your folks to see that. Mapping address. Now this field is special, and we'll talk about that. Mapping status is the same thing we had on the lead record. And that's it. I hit save. Now, the mapping status is located. And the mapping address here. Notice that on an account, accounts have billing addresses and shipping addresses. Well, which one of these do we want to have be the address that actually shows up on the map? We pick that by the mapping address. So are we mapping the billing address, the shipping address, or simply don't map this thing at all? We don't care about either address. So we don't need that do not map checkbox on the account. So I find it best to either standardize all billing or all shipping. It makes it fairly easy to know or to anticipate which one your accounts are going to be mapped at. And then when we do go to the contact record, we do the same thing again. We edit the layout, and we're going to add the same types of fields, except now we have one called contact lat and contact lon. And there's a reason why this isn't just named latitude and longitude. If you're an organization that has something called person accounts turned on, then when you go to your account record and you try and add fields, contact fields can show up as well. So I wanted to make it very clear that these are contact latitude longitudes versus account latitude longitudes. So we're going to, again, must have the contact find nearby field and must have the mapping address field. And it's good to have the mapping status field. And again, you can put those wherever you like, but that's all there is to it. Once you put those on the page layout, your users now have access to every piece of the app that they're going to need so that they can locate and map a particular location. And right from here, they can click Map It, assuming that the address has already been located, and you're very quickly